Hi guys, it's Bethany Brun Silva for parenting.com, and I am here with Tiffany, Thiessen, author, mom, actress.
Yes, mom first.
Very important. And we're going to talk about some great parenting topics today, including her partnership with Maple Hill. But first, I wanted to talk to you as a mom myself, a busy working mom. Your book, You're Missing It, really resonated with me. So for people who might not know what it's about, can you take us through that? And also, what was the inspiration?
Yes, of course. Well, I'll start with the inspiration. I think it's one of those relatable stories that we can all relate to, being that we are busy parents these days. Most households, both sides are working, both parents are working, and nowadays with our phones being small and people are expecting us to be, able to be, get a hold of us and, in no time flat, and also, people expect responses, like quickly too now, right? We have no patience anymore. Everyone's like, but it was this thing where, when we started having children, I said to him, we didn't have this. Like maybe a newspaper my dad would look at, but you'd be done with the newspaper in a few minutes and then that was it. But I feel like as parents, I see everybody walking around and their heads are down, like their children are seeing the tops of their heads constantly, and we're losing that connection as people, and not just parent to kid, but you and I, or my own parents or my friends, and so we had this inspiration, and it really started with my cookbook, Pull Up a Chair, because really food and having those sort of meals was my way of connecting with people that I loved. And so it spawned on from that, where as we were having children, I was like, we really need to be cautious about unplugging with our children. And so I was nagging my husband as he was outside.
Who is the illustrator of the book?
My husband, yes.
Phenomenal.
Which is so talented. But I was nagging my husband. I was literally in the kitchen fixing dinner, and he was so lovely, swinging our son outside, but he was like, like we always do, and I caught him. I'm like, you're missing it. Put down your phone, and a light bulb went off in his head, and he's like, oh my gosh, I think that's a book, and we've always wanted to do a children's book together. So
it's really incredible.
I just thought it was a very relatable story with everybody, whether it's child to parent or parent to child.
Absolutely. And you're a self-proclaimed planner, organizer.
Yes, I am, a little type A.
That's okay, but you also, you wrote on your website that planning, that organization, those habits give you freedom. It's for parents that are maybe struggling in that area, myself included, do you have simple, easy tips for planning, organizing, staying on top of the kids' stuff while staying on top of your own stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's where sometimes modern technology is really great, because now that we do have phones that our calendars can sync and we know what's happening, and I'm also one to write everything down too, because my husband's not the biggest person in the sense of he's old-fashioned and likes to write his calendar down. But communication is key to having, making sure that everybody knows what's happening within the week. We meal plan, that's a big thing for me, where I know exactly what's I'm going to be making for dinner ahead of time. My shopping's done ahead of time. Some prep is also done ahead of time. That it makes mealtime so much easier. And it's more about the kids and I cooking together and prepping the meal instead of having to defrost it and remember to do this and throw it in the oven and all of that. So, and they also get involved, which is great too,
because another question because
they love to. So on the weekends, usually on Sunday, and it's usually my daughter more than my son right now. But I'm like, okay, Monday, what do we want? Meatless Monday. Let's talk about what we want. And Tuesday's tacos, and we have these really cute little theme nights, and then she gets to be a part of that as well. And then packing, and I have on my phone lists of everything so I don't forget it. But it helps me so I don't get stressed, because who wants to be stressed? And then when I'm planning a dinner party, I plan it way in advance, where I know exactly what I'm going to be making, and the 3 days before that I go grocery shopping for the dry goods, and one day before I go for the flowers, and I make sure the linens are done. So I have a little checklist. Okay, that's great. And then it allows me to enjoy it as much as my guests.
Well, that's great. And then back to the cooking, because you obviously have this amazing cookbook, Pull Up a Chair. It has phenomenal recipes. So I'm just wondering, what is your favorite thing to cook for your kids, and is that their favorite thing to eat?
Well, I don't know about that. There's lots of things. I mean, we love to do pizzas because they get very involved with what they call decorating their pizza, which is really sweet. We do that on Friday nights. But, I think, if they had their others, they would literally say ice cream every single night. But that's being a kid, right? So that's why it was really exciting to actually partner with Maple Hills Creamery, because I knew, my kids are absolutely big milk drinkers, and I was raised that way as well. And I thought, from day one that organic was always the best. And that was something that I really learned with them, is that it's it's not just about organic, it's actually about grass-fed, because a lot of what's happening is what they're putting into the cows, of course, is what is also being put into you when you're drinking it, and that's what they're supposed to be eating, it's grass. And so it's better for you, it actually tastes better, and it's better for the environment.
And I saw on your Instagram you made these really cute vegetables. So
oh my god, the fudge pops are so great. Yeah, but we make ice cream a ton.
With the
yes, of course. And I mean, look, my lattes.
Right.
The milk froth's better.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else that you would recommend?
Everything from pancakes with yogurt in it. Yeah, we use a lot of dairy in our, and Maple Hills is definitely the choice for us.
That's great. And where can people get the Maple Hills?
Whole Foods, Amazon. It's very easily. It sells literally across the country.
Great. And you did talk about getting your kids involved in cooking.
Yes.
Gym tips for parents who maybe have never done something like that before?
Yes. I mean, I think it's baby steps. I mean, you know, my son, what he's capable of doing at 4 is very different than my daughter. It's at 9. My daughter's now using a knife and starting to be a little more, you know, advanced in the skills and what I allow her to do, working around the stove and things like that, where my son's a little more, you know, he plays a little more than anything. It's cute. When he was little, he actually loved to do dishes, and I was like, ooh, training him young.
And just to switch gears a little bit, when parents are prepping their lunches in the morning, I know that sometimes I'm like, I pack 2 school lunches, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to make breakfast.
Yeah.
So like, your tips also.
I do lunches at night.
Gosh, okay, I've heard
I
that
do
before.
lunches at night when the kids go to bed, and it's one of the things I do at night.
And
I
pop
also
it in the fridge.
I do, and then I also do their clothes. I take their clothes in at night, and I have them downstairs ready to go.
I feel like I'm gonna learn a lot from you, organizationally, and
but it allows me to be a little less stressful in the morning, because it is stressful. Every parent, it's crazy trying to get them out the door on time, and we like to make breakfast and stuff in the morning. So I try to make it as easy as possible on me, which then allows it to be a little easier on them. So.
That's amazing. And just my final question, I like to ask parents, and this might be a difficult question to nail down, but what is the one thing you really hope to instill in your kids, or that they learn from you that you can pass down?
I think to have a good heart. I mean, it's like empathy, I think, is to a certain degree sometimes very much lost, especially I think in this day and age, sadly. But at the same time, I see so much of it as well because of some of the sadness that's happening in the country and the world. And so I just want my kids to be sweet and good and kind.
And I'm sure they'll be learning that from you.
That's the most important for me, truly.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's been such a great conversation.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, for more tips, tricks, parenting stuff, go to parenting.com. And of course, you can check out Tiffany's website, tiffanythiessen.com.
Of course.
All right, so guys, thank you so much.
Thanks.